Every day that goes by, I am more and more excited and in love with the Steam Deck before it's even before I've even managed to get it in my hands. In this article from somebody called Chris Plant on the Polygon's website, basically summed up the reasons why he loves this console and why he says it's his favorite console of all time. And I'm looking forward to reading his thoughts on it because, like I says, a lot of these different sites have, a lot different media sites like The Verge, like Polygon. They all give different takes from different different writers. I mean, I'm curious to see why he thinks it's the best. I think I've given it a little skim already. I'll put a link to the article down in the video description so you can check it out yourself. And I'll also put a link to Chris Plant's Twitter account. I implore you to go check him out and check out the article yourself afterwards. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna read his article and we're gonna see why he thinks it's his favorite console of all time. And before we do, smash the like button down below, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'll give you a second. Come on, click the like button, guys. I really appreciate it. Let's get hyped up for Steam Deck. I think I've got a feeling this could be my favorite console of all time too. So here it is, Polygon. The Steam Deck is my new favorite console. The Steam Deck has plenty of room to grow, but already makes an astounding first impression. The Steam Deck promises to play the bulk of video gaming history whenever you want, wherever you want, with all the comforts of console gaming and the freedom of a gaming PC. That's where the Steam Deck shines, right? The fact that it's a handheld gaming PC with the ability to run Linux, Windows, you name it. I'm sure people will find a way to run it. I'm sure we'll see Android on it at some point too. As with the Nintendo Switch, you can connect the Steam Deck to a TV, throwing the game onto a large high-definition screen, or you can play on the go with the device's built-in 7-inch 1280 by 800 screen. And with the pricing starting at $399, the deck is dramatically cheaper than most of the name brand gaming laptops competitive with modern consoles. You can snag one for $50 more than Nintendo Switch's OLED edition, or the same price as the digital edition of the PlayStation 5. On paper, it's perfect. So like he's completely right here. I mean, the price of the Steam Deck compared to like even budget gaming laptops, it's unheard of. I feel like $399, and you could literally use this as your work computer if you want to, if you're so inclined. If you want to bring a Bluetooth keyboard like I've got here, with you to work, some headphones, a wireless mouse. This could be your work computer. This could be your work laptop theoretically, and your portable gaming piece, your portable gaming machine, and your portable gaming PC. It could be your desktop gaming PC if you wanted to. That's the beauty of this thing. It's not a Nintendo Switch. It's not locked down. You can run anything on it. It's awesome. I could go on and on about how much I love this thing. Anyways, he says, nonetheless, a healthy skepticism of Valve's surprise entry into portable gaming has been justified ahead of its debut. Even if the company can procure enough chips during an unprecedented shortage amid a pandemic, it will have to enter and survive one of the most competitive corners of the video gaming industry. One with many losers: Sony, Sega, Nokia, Atari, and only one consistent winner: Nintendo. I think this thing's going to be a major, massive success. A lot of people have tried to conquer and failed PlayStation Vita, but that's not to say companies other than Nintendo can be successful. I mean, look at the PSP, right? The PSP wasn't a failure. The PlayStation Vita was, but I went over that in previous videos, why I thought that was. So a couple of weeks ago when the Steam Deck appeared on my doorstep, one question loomed above all others. Could a company that's never released a game console or a computer compete against the most established hardware maker in the games, and arguably its best device? Does the Steam Deck have a legitimate chance in the age of Switch? Could it be perfect? Could it really be perfect? The Steam Deck has the greatest launch lineup ever. That is so true, though. Like virtually every game, I'm not going to say every game because there's some games obviously that will not work, but virtually every game on Steam should be runnable in some form on the Steam Deck at launch, and only more are going to be added to that list. And like I says, if you install Windows on the Steam Deck, literally every game on Steam or off Steam will work on the Steam Deck to some extent. Like it says, to some extent. Not all games are catered towards controllers on PC anyway. Out of the box, the Steam Deck connects to Steam, and look at that layout on this. Look at that layout, dude. Look at how beautiful does that look. Like, they've got 10 up on the Nintendo Switch for this layout, dude. Like the Nintendo Switch's layout is so boring compared to like the 3DS and Wii U. I feel like the Switch is just it's just empty compared to this. I think they're making they're making good use of the screen real estate, I think, and giving you plenty to look at, and it looks nice. Out of the box, the Steam Deck connects to Steam and its thousands of games, including any you may have purchased over the past decade and a half in your Steam library. How well all of those games run is something we'll unpack in a moment. Those willing to tinker can also install the Windows operating system, granting themselves access to other storefronts like itch.io, subscription services like Game Pass, and the unpaved roads of open source emulation. The result is the best launch lineup in the history of game consoles. I understand how hyperbolic that sounds, but I can't overstate the scope of video games immediately available on Steam Deck on day one. It is so true. So yeah, been able like once optionally being able to install Windows on this thing and install things like Xbox Game Pass. I know Valve or Gabe Newell, the head of Valve, has expressed an interest, and I think Microsoft has also expressed an interest at bringing Xbox Game Pass to the Steam Deck, to SteamOS on the Linux version of SteamOS, obviously. I think PlayStation, I think Xbox, and especially Phil Spencer has they've had nothing but glowing things to say about the Steam Deck and how well it runs their games as well as on the Steam store, that is. And I think they're more than interested into just getting their games and getting Game Pass on any and every device they possibly can. And I think the Steam Deck's no exception. I think it's going to be a matter of time before you won't have to install Windows to play Game Pass games, but you'll be able to just install Game Pass on the Steam Deck on SteamOS and have access to your entire library of Steam, Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass games that can run on PC. That is not obviously not the console exclusive stuff, but yeah, I love this thing. It gets better every day. Something new comes out about the Steam Deck, and it just has me drooling about the possibilities, what we could do on this thing. Classic point-and-click adventure games for the Gen X set. A forgotten mid-2000s indie gem, Elden Ring. In my first hours with the indie gem, Elden Ring. In my first hours with the portable, I opened up my Steam library and loaded a trio of games I'd most wanted to play on a handheld: Half-Life 2, Nier Automata, and the recent Vampire Survivors. Everything played without a fuss, just as I'd expect from any traditional portable game console. But the Steam Deck isn't quite a portable game console. It's a portable gaming PC. And I love PC gaming. I associate it with a reliable pulse of little frustrations. So for the past 2 weeks, I put the Steam Deck through a gauntlet of games spanning the past 3 decades. I expect big budget games, including ones published by Valve, to run smoothly. But what about everything else? Surely, I thought, not everything would work. For better and worse, the Steam Deck is a PC, and I'd imagine it'll come with all the little frustrations that having a gaming PC has, including some crashes, including some things that might not be the smoothest, polished experience that we expect from, say, a game console, like the PlayStation 5 or the Nintendo Switch, because those consoles are polished, and there's a reason why games take months, if not years, to be ported to something like the Nintendo Switch. This is just a gaming PC, a portable gaming PC, and we're gonna have to, like, if you're used to something like the Nintendo Switch, you might have to work your head around having to adjust settings in the game to make it more comfortable to play on a handheld. That's just something that us PC gamers have been used to for a while. They do try and make it as easy as possible by like giving you default graphic settings and all that good stuff, but sometimes you will find that you might have to tweak a couple of things here and there just to make the game run a little bit smoother or look a little bit nicer. It's all about balancing the performance with graphics fidelity, and like I said, as a PC gamer, you'll know what I'm talking about. So yes, for a moment, the Steam Deck appeared to be everything I dreamt of, but as you probably guessed, the more I test the Steam Deck, the more games I find don't quite work. How and why a game doesn't work can be unpredictable and unclear. Some games are completely unplayable, like 2009's Arkanoid-inspired Shatter, failing to load or getting stuck on a title screen. Other games, most notably Persona 4 Golden, are playable but have occasional audiovisual problems. Valve representatives have told me that most of the issues pertain to Proton, the company's tool. I was about to talk about that and like as commentary about Proton, the company's tool that allows Windows games to run on the Steam Deck's Linux-based system. Valve must ensure that that a game and Proton can play nice together. Once a game is checked, it gets added to the list of Steam Deck approved titles. So yeah, Proton is basically like it's almost like what's that Apple thing called? The thing that Apple has that like converts x86 apps over to their new M1 mobile processor, being able to run like legacy stuff on newer hardware. It basically allows you to run Windows games on Linux. That's essentially what it is. What it boils down to. And the list of games that Proton supports is growing bigger every single day. So if a game doesn't work now, or doesn't work at day one when you get your Steam Deck, chances are a couple of months down the line, couple of days down the line, that that game will be fully supported. It's just a matter of when, and they're slowly increasing that compatibility list. And I believe there's a website here called ProtonDB where you can actually go and check the compatibility list of all the games, and which games work, which games don't work, what the issues might be in terms of compatibility and whatnot. Yeah, so that's something to check out. ProtonDB.com. Go check it out and see for yourself what games work, and which don't, and which ones are like on their way to be working a little bit better. Proton flaws, Valve reps told me, are fixable and can be specific to particular games. Individual game fixes have been and will continue to be prioritized for repair by a variety of factors, most notably how much time a game has been played by Steam users who've pre-ordered the Steam Deck. To put it another way, popular games will often get a fast pass to the front of the queue. Other games run fine but require me to remap the controls, like Everyday Shooter, a brilliant hidden gem of an arcade shooter from 2006. The game loaded instantly, but I couldn't get past its title screen with the default gamepad controls. So I experimented with remapping the controls in the Steam overlay, and after about 5 or so minutes of tweaks, the game ran swimmingly on my deck. I have the option to upload my customized control profile onto Steam for other players to download, just as I've downloaded user-made profiles for other games. I expect to see lots of user-made profiles for cult games like this, the kind of titles that won't be prioritized by Valve for Steam Deck compatibility. So that is another beauty of a thing that Valve has done, is that they're allowing people, like a lot of games don't have controller layouts or mapped controller layouts for the Steam Deck, for the Steam controller, and they've built this system now to where if you let's say you load a game on the Steam Deck, the control mappings are all wrong, you can actually create your own mapping for that game with the Steam Deck controls, and you could upload it to a shared community database where you could look at other people's mappings, maybe try theirs, upload yours so others can try your layouts. Basically, they're making it as easy as possible to get the Steam Deck working with as many games as possible, and the best way to do that is by having the community pull together. Chances are someone's going to probably be trying to play the game that you're trying to play, and they'll have uploaded a custom like controller layout for you, just to quickly apply and get stuck into your favorite game. So yeah, it's Valve. I've thought of a lot here, and a lot of it actually stems from back when they had the Steam controller. A lot of this stuff has kind of like been carried over from there. So if you have the time to map your control yourself, to be clear, I have remapped controls on an emulator one time before this, and remapping games on console for me begins and ends with inverting the y-axis. I'm no expert, and yet I find the process a minor inconvenience at worst. Similarly, few unusual design choices with the hardware itself are reminders that the Steam Deck is an entire gaming PC crammed into a handheld form factor. The fans, which are quieter than those in most gaming PCs, are noticeably louder than those in the Nintendo Switch, and they rev whenever I launch a game. To allow for compatibility with mouse and keyboard games, 2 trackpads have been given prominent placement where the joysticks would typically rest. And there's the battery life. For work, I use a Razer Blade 15, a very nice gaming laptop that will guzzle battery life if I dare to play a modern game without first plugging it into an outlet. The Steam Deck can miraculously maintain 3 hours or more of battery while playing a game, but that requires tinkering with frame rate, resolution, fidelity, FX, super resolution settings, that sort of stuff that a Switch owner has never had to worry about. That said, I managed to get 2 hours from my full charge while playing Elden Ring with no adjustments. Not great, but better than my gaming laptop. So that's something that we're very used to as PC gamers, right? Fiddling with settings. If you're not used to fiddling with settings to try and get the optimal sort of setup, I don't know what to tell you. It's something you're gonna have to get used to, and it's part of PC gaming. Really, you're gonna have to obviously tailor each game you play to run the best it can on the Steam Deck. Most of the time, they'll give you default settings. They'll sort of auto configure the settings to try and give you the optimal, the optimal settings for your system, like the Steam Deck. But they don't always get it right, and you do have to go in the graphic settings, maybe turn down something, turn something on, adjust the resolution, adjust certain settings in the game, which it doesn't take long at all. Really, it doesn't take long. Um, all of which is to say, Valve has consciously chosen to keep one foot in the world of PC gaming at the expense of some creature comforts expected from traditional gaming portable, from a traditional gaming portable. Sometimes for the worse, but as often for the better. The quest for the do-it-all video game machine. And like I says, I don't mind a lot of these compromises. Okay, I think this is what we're gonna have to put up with if we want a system that can run it all, right? If we want a system that can play all the new AAA games, we don't. I mean, that's one of my biggest gripes about the Nintendo Switch, right? Is the fact that when we want a game to come out on the Switch, we have to beg Nintendo, we have to beg the developer on Twitter to think about porting their game over to the Switch. And even if they do, it can take months, if not years, for them to do it. But the beauty of the Steam Deck is that we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait for it. We can do it straight away, but we have to deal with some little things like changing the graphic settings, trying to optimize the game for the system. And it's not that difficult. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's literally going into the game settings, adjusting the resolution, adjusting the texture quality from maybe ultra down to medium or something. It's not rocket science. Anyone can do it. But it's something obviously that you're not used to if you play Nintendo Switch all the time. Now, he says, I haven't had the opportunity to test one of the Steam Deck's most powerful features, dual booting Windows. During the review period, Valve was still waiting for a GPU driver, so consider the following, an informational detour on what the Steam Deck ostensibly can do, but I've yet to actually see. The advantage of dual booting Windows could be the ability to run games natively on the Windows OS and gain access to many games, storefronts, subscription services outside of Steam. In theory, I could access decades of games through Windows with Game Pass, the Epic Games Store, indie shops like itch.io, and classic console games via emulation. The emulator RetroArch is available on Steam, so it can be played without a Windows install. However, you'll need to import your own ROMs. In the coming weeks, we'll undoubtedly see YouTubers posting tutorials to explain these options and guide users through installing them on the Steam Deck. But even once these features become available and tutorialized, they will still require considerably more work to get up and running than games through Steam. Tinkerers will have both easier and more difficult options too. If you're familiar with Linux, you can enter Steam Deck's desktop mode and install apps via Flatpak. If you accidentally break something, you can re-image and recover the Steam Deck. But if you're at all familiar with any of these terms, I strongly encourage you to hold off for now. The easier route to games outside of Steam will be cloud gaming via Chrome, the Steam Deck's browser of choice. Unfortunately, Steam Deck controls won't work until Google releases a patch. It's ready, but just waiting to go live. Ready, but waiting to go live is sort of the theme of the Steam Deck beyond Steam itself. The platform has unprecedented potential for portable gaming, blending the mostly separate worlds of portable consoles, cloud and subscription services built for smartphones and emulator handhelds into one powerful device. But for now, the potential is just that. Potential. For tinkerers and retro game enthusiasts, this may be reason enough to delay a purchase, but for everyone else, these options were always going to be the cherry on top. Nice, sure, but not necessary, and I totally agree with that statement. I think they could have shrunk down the design a bit of the Steam Deck. It looks very much like a Gen 1 product, right? I mean, here's Nintendo Switch OLED. It's been refined. They've cut down the bezel size. They've made it look a little bit more sleeker. They've added an OLED screen. I could see Steam Deck 2, cutting a bunch of the fat off around the sides, making this a little bit more of a sleeker looking console. But to be honest though, based on like the inputs that they've chosen, the touch pads, which I think are a necessity on this thing because it is a portable gaming PC, you want to be able to have pretty decent mouse input via a decent good trackpad. You want full-sized you want full-sized controller thumbsticks on this thing. You want proper real trigger, like you want real inputs. You don't want dinky little handheld inputs, right, that we're used to on something like the PlayStation Vita that still work but they feel crap. You want like that full controller experience on a handheld, and I think they could try and slim this down a little bit, but really the only thing I could see them theoretically doing is just increasing the screen size, cutting out some of that bezel in the long run. The Steam Deck shines as an ultra powerful Switch. I enjoyed the Steam Deck most when I treated it like a powerful Nintendo Switch instead of a hybrid portable PC. For these purposes, I spent the majority of my testing in handheld mode, though I did enjoy a couple of hours in the Elden Ring with the deck connected to my TV. Unlike the Switch, it doesn't require a special dock, but you will want a USB-C dongle with a HDMI converter and another USB-C port for power. An official Steam Deck dock will be available later this spring, though Valve hasn't announced a price, and the dock won't provide any additional benefits to the hardware. The deck is comparable in capabilities to a mid-range video game console, much more powerful than the Switch, though short of the frustrating to find PlayStation 5 and Series X. This abundance of power is helping when running brand new games on medium or low settings, Elden Ring, Dying Light 2, but frankly more impressive when playing slightly older or simply less demanding games. When it was connected to a TV, I had no issue running games at 1080p resolution. The deck can output 4K video, though it's not nearly powerful enough to render most games at that resolution. But as I said, I've most enjoyed the opportunity to play PC games at my leisure on the couch or before bed. That's one thing. That's one thing I look forward to doing. Right, is playing games, playing the games I love anywhere, not just in my office, not just with a game, a hot burning hot gaming laptop, but on a portable device that I can just pick up, shove in my bag, go anywhere with. Right, it's gonna make you want to play more games. So I recently returned to an abandoned save file from last year's brilliant Japanese role-playing game, Tales of Arise, and found that it looks just as spectacular on the Steam Deck as it did on my 4K TV. Dragon Quest XI ran on top settings. Red Faction Guerrilla maintained a steady 60 frames per second frame rate. Half-Life 2's wonky old-school load times flashed by thanks to Steam Deck's NVMe SSD. Available on the 256 and 512 gig models, which cost $529, $649 respectively. Unlike the Switch, though, which has required me to subscribe to Nintendo's online service to access classic games that I've bought many times already, my Steam Deck can access my entire PC back catalog, and Steam's seasonal sales offer much greater and more regular discounts than any on console storefronts. They might not make for the flashiest back of the box bullet points, but they deserve that emphasis. Cheaper games, better visuals, faster load times, and a comprehensive legacy gaming library. Of course, other companies have made handhelds and gaming laptops with similar benefits, only to fall to Nintendo anyway. Nintendo controlling the portable games for decades is an example of how success breeds success. Nintendo knows how to make a portable device holistically. A portable console is a bit of a Voltron containing complex software and multiple pieces of otherwise standalone hardware, all smashed together into an impossibly possibly small space. The Switch, for example, contains the console guts that powers the games, plus the controller, plus the screen, plus the power source and operating system, all of which must work together seamlessly, while all vying for priority. Nintendo and its manufacturing partners have learned from each successive handheld how to harmonize these conflicting parts. Valve, on the other hand, is best known for selling and distributing video games over the internet, not crafting consumer-friendly hardware, although they have crafted the Steam Link, the Steam controller, and the exceptionally pricey Valve Index VR headset has their diehard fans, but Valve's hardware has been little more than a mosquito bite in the console business, barely noticeable, sort of annoying. And yet the Steam Deck feels like a portable console made from years of experience. If ever there were a heir to the PlayStation Vita, the closest Nintendo has had to a legitimate threat, this is it. It doesn't look the part, not at first. The Steam Deck, when plucked from the included carrying case, appears humongous, with a noticeable heft. The joysticks initially feel too high to be comfortable, and the haptic feedback is, in a word, funky, and yet all of these quirks fade into oblivion after an hour of actually playing with the contraption. It feels incredible. All of the design quirks, in hindsight, have been considered even justified. The high joysticks, for example, are inconvenient because the ergonomics of the hand grips allow my thumbs to comfortably rest wherever they need to be. And this may surprise you, but I don't make a lot of time to lift weights these days. Even so, a couple of hours with Elden Ring caused zero muscle fatigue. What's more, the bulky size means more room for the screen, along with buttons that feel like a legit controller. That's one thing I love about the Steam Deck, is that they've put full controller-sized inputs on this, right? Real analog sticks, real analog triggers, so we can finally play racing games, have control over the throttle and stuff like that. Even so, a couple of hours with Elden Ring, the joysticks worked so well that I managed to beat two of Elden Ring's big bads while playing on the Steam Deck. The haptic feedback feels too weak, but Valve tells me it will be improved with upcoming software updates. Considering how many assumptions have been proven wrong, I won't be surprised if the company somehow fixes the rumble with a patch. The Steam Deck reminds me of the Xbox Elite controllers. It's a higher cost but higher quality update to what's already available. It feels like the Switch, but better. The joysticks far surpass those of the Switch, and even ones on Hori's improved Switch Joy-Cons. Furthermore, the 4 paddle buttons on the back of the device allow for far greater customization with a simple press of the Steam button. Lastly, the speakers are uncommonly loud and clear. The Bluetooth headsets and controllers can easily be paired, no dongle required. On the hardware level, Valve has delivered an exceptional gizmo, though in hindsight this shouldn't be a total surprise. The company has more experience than I gave it credit for. Experiments and side projects like the Steam controller, the big picture mode user interface, and the Steam Link, while not breakout hits, have afforded Valve opportunities to learn how to adapt PC gaming to a handheld controller, simplify its user interface, and work with manufacturing partners to convert its designs into honest to goodness products. The Steam Deck isn't an oversight success, it's the culmination of years of experimentation, incremental updates, and failures. It isn't perfect, but it's pretty damn great. Steam Deck and the freedom to make most of time. Even this, oh god, it goes on for more, the review. Even in this early stage, the Steam Deck already delivers what I want from a modern portable console. I love the Nintendo Switch because it makes video games approachable to more people than ever before, allowing them to easily enjoy games at their convenience without any additional investment of time or space. No TV required, hell, no living room required, and I still find that for newcomers and people unfamiliar with PC gaming, Nintendo's device remains the best starting point for this hobby. Totally agree. But for the people who have already have a Steam library or are eager to dip their toes into the waters of PC gaming, the Steam Deck already feels like a legitimate alternative. It builds on the Switch's pitch of playing anywhere and everywhere, because now my games and save files are not tied to a console. They live in the cloud, following me wherever I can access Steam from my Steam Deck, to my gaming PC, to my work laptop, and wherever else I might want them in the future. The Steam Deck is now my default gaming device. Fortunately, I won't have to say this game's great, but I'll wait till it's on Steam Deck, because it's available. If it's available on Steam, then it's probably already there. What a great review. And look at this, dude. Dragon Quest on the Steam Deck. I played this on the Nintendo Switch, funnily enough. I loved it on the Switch. But like, that's the pitch for Steam Deck, right? You don't have to say, oh, that game's great. You know, I want to play that game, but I'll wait till I'll wait till it comes out on the Nintendo Switch, right? You no longer have to say that. You no longer have to be limited to the Switch. You no longer have to buy games more than once. Like that's one thing that bugs the crap out of me, right? Is that I already had Skyrim on Steam. I've had Skyrim, the remastered edition, or is it the definitive edition of Skyrim, on my Steam library for ages, since it came out, I think. And then the Switch came out, then Skyrim came out on the Switch, and then I was faced with a choice. You know, do I play Steam? I mean, do I play Skyrim for the first time sitting at my gaming PC in my office, away from the family, or do I buy it again and take it anywhere I want to go? You know, and I ended up opting to buy it again on the Nintendo Switch. Whereas if the Steam Deck existed back then, I could just be like, well, pick up my Steam Deck. Oh, it's already in my Steam library, which I play games with on my gaming PC. It's got my game saves saved to the cloud. I'll just continue where I left off on the PC on my Steam Deck. That is the beauty of the Steam Deck, is that more than likely you'll probably have you'll have a library of games on Steam already. If you've had a gaming PC in the last 15-20 years, you've probably had Steam on it. You've probably bought games on the Steam store, and you might even be surprised when you log into Steam on your Steam Deck and find out that you do actually have a small library of games if you've not had a gaming PC in years. That's the beauty, right? You don't have to buy games again. If you've bought them on PC before, you'll be able to continue playing them on the Steam Deck without having to buy them a second time, just for the privilege of being able to play portably. So, Steam Deck, I love it. Thank you so much again for clicking on this video, for taking the time to join me. If you're still here, thank you for being here. And kudos again to Polygon for this awesome review, and of course Chris Plant. I think that Plant. Chris Plant on Twitter. Go follow him on Twitter. Another great review from Polygon and from Chris. So go check them out. I'll put links in the description. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for taking the time. I love you. Are you excited about Steam Deck? What do you think of the review? Did you like it? If you do, go give them a follow. But yeah, and hopefully you enjoyed my commentary over it. I love to see what other people think of new things, including games, including hardware, including tech, and give my own sort of commentary on it and see if I agree with it. And I think that review really hit the spot for me, and it's got me again just drooling to get my hands on a Steam Deck. Anyways, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. Have an amazing weekend. I'll be playing Gran Turismo this Friday on this YouTube channel and on Twitch around 1 p.m. Eastern, and if you want to join me for that, feel free. Anyways, guys, take care. See you in the next video. It's Blaze2K signing out. Drop a like, drop a subscribe, click the bell icon, and consider becoming part of the the Blaze2K clan by clicking the join button, becoming a member, becoming part of the family. Take care. Love you. See you in the next one. Bye.